Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. This is the first time that I've made a video like live, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like talking live, which is kind of weird. But anyways, I thought that I would talk about my everyday carry now that I'm a week into my semester. So basically, put up that video with all of my, this is how I'm going to take all of my digital notes and everything, and then I actually got into my classes, and that didn't end up being how I really wanted to do everything. So in my backpack, I keep a few things in there every day. 3 days of the week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I have 5 classes in a row from 9 to 3 o'clock. 9 a.m. to 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and then Tuesday and Thursday I have a class from 1 to 2:30. So it's like 5 on one day and 1 on the other day. But I do carry all the stuff with me for the most part. I don't usually stay on campus, and I'm not planning on like staying on campus after class or like going in before classes on Tuesdays and Thursdays or anything, but I do get there around 8:30 on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, even though my class is until 9:10, because my friend gets off the bus at 8:30. So we go sometimes get a coffee or something, and sometimes I'll work on homework. But anyways, I thought I would show you guys what my actual system ended up being like. So the first and most important thing is this file folder, like one of the expanding ones with all the pockets and everything. It's kind of hard to see because it's so big. I can zoom you guys out a bit. But it's so big. But it's pink, and I got this one on Amazon. I think it was like relatively cheap. Like it couldn't have been more than $10 for me to buy it, to be honest. And there's a lot of stuff in here, as you can see already, even though it's only like the first week of classes. And that's because I do keep the majority of my school stuff in here. So most of my textbooks are ebooks. I do have one textbook that's in a binder that I keep with me only on the days that I have that class. So only Monday, Wednesday, Friday, just because I don't like carrying binders with me. But there's that one class that has a physical one because we're allowed to use our binders for part of our exams. Part of our exam is no binder, and part of it, or no book. And the other part is we are allowed to use our notebooks and our textbooks. So I wanted to have a physical one instead of an e-textbook because I wouldn't be allowed to use that. But then I just put these sticky note tabs. Where are they? They're somewhere in my mess of a room. But I just put these sticky note tabs on here because they didn't really have like a slot where you could put like the names on. And I didn't want to write on that with permanent marker and then not be able to change it later. So I just have one pocket per thing. So like my first pocket, we have, this is for my public speaking class. I'll just take everything out. You guys can see this. I'm not going to show like the first page of our syllabus just because it has like our professor's name and email on it and my class location and all of that kind of stuff. So not going to do that. But I got these Kokuyo campus notebooks. A lot of this load is inspired by Study Quill, by the way. Study Quill is what I'm trying to say. She's on YouTube and Instagram. She uses an expanding file folder, I think, or at least like she used to. One of her videos, she used an expanding file folder, and she also uses this kind of paper. I don't think she uses the notebooks. I could be mistaken. But this kind of paper, you definitely can't see it, but it's lined, but it also has dots on it too. So like little dots on the lines. So if you needed to draw like a vertical line, you could, which is really nice. So I got the 5 set of these, and then they came and they were so thin. So I got like a lot of them. I bought like 4 sets of 5 so that I would have 4 of each color just in case I needed to have more than one notebook for a class, which I definitely will for some of my classes. But just skipping the first page with my professor's info on it. This is my public speaking class. These notes I always take live, with the exception of our readings, which we only have like 4 or 5 of for the entire semester. But I like sit in class and get all my pens out and everything, and it's like kind of funny because my friend in that class. She's like exactly the same as me. Like, we carry too many pens with us all the time and make our notes look ridiculous and all that stuff. But yeah, so basically every day I'll just pick out like a different mild liner. I get out the same like pens and stuff and just kind of, I don't know, just kind of go with the flow with this class. And then I always carry our syllabus with us because it has our whole schedule on here, and our headers for our discussions are on here too. So for the most part, we're not lecturing anymore, like on Wednesday, which is tomorrow. At the time of filming this, we're getting introduced to our speeches. And then for the most part, like only on these quiz days are we really gonna have like an actual like discussion about something. So I think I only need one notebook for this class, but we'll see. I mean, I can always use them in the coming semesters, of course. But that's where we get our headers from. So like Fear and Noise on the 17th is this. So I'll get into class. We have 10 minutes between our classes. So I'll walk into class whenever the class before us leaves, which is sometimes late, which is annoying. And I'll open everything up and I'll look and say, oh, today we're doing Fear and Noise. Let me put Fear and Noise as the header. Or for this one, on the 15th, it was Usefulness of Public Speaking, Hegel and Worldview. So I did Usefulness of Public Speaking, and then partway through the class, he said, okay, now we're going to switch over and talk about Hegel. So I wrote in that header real quick while we were kind of like switching gears. So that's how that works. And then the other thing for this class is we have those readings that I talked about. This was the first one that we've already had a quiz on. I don't know how I did. It was one question, and I think I got it right. Now that I'm thinking about it, I meant to go and check, and I didn't. I think I got it right. I don't know. But we have these readings from publicspeakingproject.org, and they're actually pretty long. Like, I think this one was 12 pages, and I want to say that this one was 16 pages. But with readings like this, I do like to have paper copies of them. I like highlighting them. I want to go through and take actual notes on this whole thing with like the vocab and stuff, even though I'm not actually going to be tested on it, just because I think it's useful information. But yeah, I like to have physical copies of it because, I don't know, just like having a physical copy of readings is nice. For this class at least. And every class is different, honestly. For my history class, I type my notes and record the audio from my lectures because he talks so fast and also repeats himself sometimes. And the lectures are super important for that class. So I don't have as much in here, I just really have the notebook. And then each week is on our syllabus in here. And then we have The Trial and Death of Socrates as our textbook. But we're not even really using it for another couple weeks. For economics, what do? I type my notes during his lectures, and then I go into the textbook afterwards and write the notes based on what he mentioned in the textbook or what he mentioned in lecture. Because he doesn't mention everything in the textbook, but he mentions the important things, and that's what's going to end up being on our tests. So I'll write down like the topics and like the gist of what he's saying during our lecture, and then I'll go in the textbook and kind of go over that more in-depthly. This is management, which is in the binder. So the notebook is in the binder right now because I was just taking notes for it. But this is my management class. For that one, what do? I can't even remember because we didn't really start chapter 1 last week. We were kind of going over our group projects that we're going to have for most of the semester. He was doing like an example presentation and kind of walking us through what we were going to do. But my plan for that class is a notebook in the physical textbook. So I kind of want to do the same thing that I do for economics. I want to like listen to his lecture, type my notes probably. I'm not totally sure yet, depending on how he does his lecture, and then probably like write out and look in the textbook and go in depth with that. And then my geography class is all on my iPad, so that is consistent with what I filmed in the last video, with it all being on my iPad and it all being like digital notes, like the whole semester outlined, all of that kind of stuff. So that's all that's in there. My management class It doesn't have a folder right now. I think that for the most part, that's going to be able to be put into my iPad, I'm hoping. I don't have any of that set up because there's no textbook for it. She didn't really have a syllabus set up. She has one set up, but she hasn't released it to us yet, so I don't really know what's coming. So I'm kind of banking on that being very iPad friendly. So that's all of my school stuff, or all of my school papers and stuff. And then the next thing I have is obviously my bullet journal. I do carry my bullet journal with me every day. I don't really open it up at school now that I think about it, and I really should, to keep track of everything that I need to do. I'm still kind of figuring out how I want to do my dailies and weeklies and stuff, because I don't really like weeklies, but I kind of need them for school. So this is kind of what I'm doing currently, is having half of a page be a weekly and saying, oh, I have a global history quiz on Friday. I do my geography homework due on Sunday. Thursday, I'm getting dinner. Today, this is what I'm doing. Tomorrow, I have my appointment, all of that kind of stuff. And then kind of daily logging with it, which I don't hate. It's not bad. I just don't really like weeklies. But I do need space to look at the week ahead, so I think I'm gonna have to start liking them. The week before, I did this little bar for weeklies, and I kind of had this more open structure for my dailies. Or text, sorry. I had this more open structure for my dailies, and I was kind of journaling in here a lot more. But I think that once I finish the Boho Berry Challenge for January, I'm gonna start journaling in my Hobonichi, and that's gonna be where I do that. And then as for time tracking, I just haven't incorporated it into the spread in particular. I'm kind of trying to figure out how I want to do that, because while I don't want it to be vertical and have me waste the space, I also don't want it to be horizontal and have the days kind of cut apart. So I don't know. We're figuring it out. And then I made this whole YouTube plan thing and then just decorated the next spread because I wanted to. But yeah, it's my planner. I should use it more, and I don't. And that is one of my goals for the rest of the month, is to use it consistently. But I also just have index cards, stickers, pictures, sticky notes, more stickers, and a little ruler in here that I just carry in this little thing that you guys have seen before. It's nothing new. And then we have my pencil cases. So I have 2 pencil cases. It's because I have a lot of stuff that I do genuinely want to carry with me every day. And I don't know, there's not really much more to say than that. I just want to carry all this stuff with me every day. On my longer days, my 9 to 3 days, I do pretty much use everything that's in here. So that's interesting, isn't it? But yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's all the stuff that I use for note-taking and whatnot. So this pencil case is interesting. I liked it because it has 3 compartments that are separate, and you can open these 2 compartments with 1 zip, and then the middle compartment opens too. In this compartment, I keep my Tombow twin tones. These are what I use for note-taking the most. I have 2 sets. The rainbow set's the one that came out most recently. I don't have that one. But I have the other 2 sets, and they just fit right in here nicely. I do use the black one and the gray one the most, which shouldn't be surprising at all. But I do like using all of them. And then in this pocket, I have the Pentel Sign brush pens. Is that what they're called? The glittery Pentel brush pens. They're not the ink isn't glittery. They just are glittery, which I think is actually kind of weird. And then I have my Tombow Fudenosuke in gray and black, and this is just kind of my little brush pen section. And then in the middle pouch, because I'm so afraid of them leaking, I have my Pilot Varsity, is that what they're called? Pilot Varsity fountain pens. So it's probably going to be a little hard to see. But they have a fountain pen nib. The only thing I don't like about these is that they're so small. Especially without the cap on the other end, like it's barely a pen. So I like always have to put the cap on the other end, and I don't ever want to like push it in too far because I want it to be longer. So if you have the cap on, it's like fine, but without the cap, it's a really little pen. And then, as you guys kind of saw in my bullet journal spread behind the days, I had a swipe of color, and this is just that color that I threw in here just so I would know which one it is without having to write it down anywhere. So that's this one. And then in this one, start with the sides. This side has like supplies stuff in it, so like a lot more sticky notes. I have a roll of silver, one roll of silver, one roll of gold washi tape, just in case I need washi tape, and then like a big eraser. And then we have these little sticky tabs they're like post-it note tabs. They came with the ones that I use in my expanding file folder. These are like the smaller version of those, so just in case I need those for anything. And then refills for the 2 pencils that I have in here. So one set of red refills and one set of HB refills. And then we have my just correction tape, because I didn't have correction tape in here before, and then I started taking like lots of notes and stuff and making mistakes, and I got annoyed with it. Yeah. So now I have correction tape in my pencil case. And close that. Go to the other side. These are all of my like main pencils, stuff. I had more in here. My Tombow food in a suitcase were in here, and I was like, it's too crowded. They're going with all the other fresh pens. So I have my Pilot G2 in 07, which is my main thing. And then I have my Zebra Sarasa clip in 03. And then I have this, oh my gosh, what's it called? It's a uni pencil. It's the Stay Sharp one, the one that spins when you apply pressure. So you guys won't be able to see this really, but I can feel when you apply pressure to the tip, it rotates a little bit, so it keeps your pencil edge sharp. And then just because I wanted a different body so that I would know which one is the red one, I got a Graph Gear 500 mechanical pencil, and that one's the one with the red lead in it. And then I have 2 Stellar pigment liners, one in 03 and the other one is in 1.0. And then my 2 other, what do you call these? Micron PMs. This one's blue-black and this one's sepia. And the black one I keep in my bullet journal pen loop. And other than that, my binder is the only other, like I kind of mentioned, like there's nothing special about it. I can grab it real quick. Yes, of course it's pink. You can't see it, but it's holographic. So it's like the background is pink, as you guys can see. And then you can like, no, you can't really see it. I wonder if yeah, there you can kind of see that it's holographic with my light off. But yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. I think it's from Staples. Yeah, that's about it. This has my management textbook in it, which is a lot thinner than I thought it would be. I despise loose leaf textbooks. I hate them with a passion, which is why I didn't want to buy this one. But I figured, I mean, if I have to use it for tests, and we're actually using most of this textbook, which is surprising. Like, we're actually going to read all of these chapters, which is really surprising. I figured I'd just buy the loose leaf one so I could use it on tests. And then this is the campus notebook that should be in my expanding file folder, but it's not because it's in here. I mean, I guess this is a fine place to put it. And then one thing that we don't use in this class is MindTap. So there's a scratch off code in here for like an online thing that we don't use. So when I sell this textbook, I could ask for more money because I won't have used the code. But that's about it. But yeah, I guess like Yeah, it would be easier to just take notes on my iPad and everything. And I do, like, for a couple of my classes, I just type my notes and write them later. I record lectures with my professor's permission, by the way. I always ask your professor if you are allowed to record their lectures, because some of them aren't cool with it. I record my lectures with permission. I type my notes and then rewrite them. All of that kind of stuff. So like my iPad also is in my backpack. It's something that I take with me to school every day and use every day. But it does, like, just for this semester with this load of classes, it works a little bit better to have some paper products. But anyway, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.